Hey guys, how you doing today? This is Noel,
And
and
I'm Ricky.
and this is our channel named The John. And on today, we're gonna talk about the new Nintendo Switch and our outlook of it. So, first off, we're gonna talk about the pros and what do we see good about this.
Yep.
So, what is a pro that you see, Ricky?
For me, one of the big pros would have to be the portability. For me, I have a 3DS. I love playing games on the go. I love being able to bring it wherever I go, take it in the car, take it on the bus, take it to my friend's house, and this looks perfect. It's a bigger screen, higher resolution, probably better controls, and you can take your favorite Nintendo games like Zelda with you when you walk out the door.
Yes, I totally agree, and just the fact that it's very user friendly, and for that to say as like you could take it to from here to school, and then after school you go play with your friends.
Definitely,
It's
definitely.
not just like you're taking your Game Boy and you're by yourself playing it.
That's one of my favorite things is the social aspect of the Nintendo Switch that they showed in their commercial. The fact that you can break out the controllers and use one half to
Mm.
play a game, so you can share right there. If your friends have it, you guys can link them up and play like that. You can play with the Pro controllers. It's it really is like a breeding ground for friendships and social aspects of video games.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel as though one thing I like about it compared to like the 3DS is a bigger screen, so it's kind of like it's not a full on monitor now, but you and your friends can look at it. Later on, like down the road, they might make it like an XL, give it a couple more
Yeah,
inches.
maybe.
But I feel as though this is a good starting point. It's a nice
Definitely.
screen. The colors look vibrant from what I can see in the trailer.
Especially when you compare it to the 3DS, because the 3DS screen is pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's super low resolution, and it's really choppy. Like if you ever seen a 3DS game, unless it's 2D, all the 3D games look kind of bad on it, and they're trying their best. They're maxing it out, but the screen isn't high enough resolution, and the processing power isn't there. But hopefully, in the Switch, they'll have the processing power and a high enough resolution screen that these games will look just as good as they do on the TV.
Yeah, I mean, by the years come, the gaming system should improve. I remember the original DS where, oh my gosh, the max brightness is nothing compared to like the DS Lite. The DS
Yeah.
Lite, and I feel as though with every DS they just improve.
Mhm.
And now with this new console, the Switch, I
Yeah.
want to see a lot of improvement. I don't want to see setbacks. So I just hope they do this console justice.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have any other pros to add?
Another pro I would like to add is that um, I feel as though towards the portability is another pro on the portability. If like on your commute to work, you could like you could use it to play. If you're mid gaming in the daytime and you have to go somewhere, you could just pick it up and go. That's a very big pro for me, and I'm definitely going to be using that feature.
Yeah, and this last point I want to make about the portability kind of could also get into a con, but it's the AAA space, like AAA gaming on the go. We really haven't seen that since the Vita, and the Vita was
Hmm.
kind of a failure. So this is kind of a big deal, especially if they can get that third party support. You could play your Call of Duty, you could play your Skyrim, you can play your 2K, you can play all your favorite third party games on the go. That could change things.
That right there, what you said, third party, it's a big factor in this
Mm-hmm.
because we all know how the
The
Wii
The
U.
Wii U was
Oh man.
how, and that's the thing that people need to be worried. They need to be cautious because when the Wii U was announced, it had a very similar, start. People were really excited about it. They announced a lot of third-party
Hmm.
support. They had a list of companies that were supposed to release games for it, and when it got released and when the sales numbers weren't that great, all those third parties ran away. And also, Nintendo isn't the best to work with.
Yeah, so it is their track record, and hopefully from now on, they learn from their mistakes and improve.
Mm-hmm.
But only time will tell.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see a new Nintendo. A Nintendo that learned from its mistakes, just like Sony learned from the PS3. I want them to learn from their Wii U.
It's kind of like a rebirth. Like they switched to a new person.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We have a lot of questions left to answer.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start getting into the cons now?
Oh yeah. first off, my cons are more like questions and hopefully they do this right. So I want to say, first off, battery. Because in the trailer, I see this guy. He waked up in the morning, went to the plane, played it. God knows how long the plane ride was.
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to leave my house, come back home, and not be able to plug it in and plug it in when I get home? Or throughout the day, I'm going to have to constantly give it juice?
Yeah, exactly. That's something that immediately jumped out at me too when I saw that trailer was, like you said, he gets on a plane ride. And to me, when I'm thinking of plane ride, I'm thinking minimum 4 hours, probably longer, and what's going to happen is this thing going to have a 3-hour battery life, 4 hours, 6 hour, 10 hour. Like, is it going to have a charging port? Can you charge it without the dock? That would help, but it's still not ideal. I'd rather have that battery.
Yeah, totally agree.
And I know you were comparing it to tablets earlier.
Yes, I was, because I know there's other tablets on the market where you're pretty much good throughout the day. You can run it as much as you want, and it won't fail you. Hopefully that this is kind of like a tablet in a sense, but
the only hard part is that tablets typically aren't playing like AAA games.
That's true.
But still, the fact remains. I like to play. When I play a game, I like to get into it. I play Civilization 5 all the time, so that's hours of gameplay. I'm not saying this is gonna have that, but if I'm gonna play Skyrim, I'm gonna be there for hours. If I'm gonna play,
invest. Do time. Yeah, so, I want to invest. I don't want it to be shortened down. My time experience to be shortened down. My battery life.
Like for me personally, I would say it needs to have at least 6 hours. For me to really like this system, it has to have 6 hours. More than that would be crazy fantastic. Less than that would be a little bit scary, especially if it's closer to like 2 hours.
Yeah, I feel as though, like you said, 6 hours, but don't. This would get me very disappointed if they promote 6 hours, and it gives me like 4.5.
Like laptops all the time.
Yeah, and this is like, it's their product, and I feel as though Nintendo should stick to their word on this. And
yeah, I mean, I can compare it to my gaming laptop, where I play AAA games on my gaming laptop, and I almost always have to have it plugged in. It'd be lucky if I get 2.5 hours of gaming battery life on it. And then also the performance gets hit on the battery if it's running off the battery. But if the NX can pull through, and give us that 6-hour battery and true 6-hour battery playing games, that'd be perfect. Because I don't know how you're gonna do a plane ride with 2 hours of battery. I don't know how you're gonna be playing socially with your friends after school or at lunch or even just on the weekends with your buddies on the go if the battery life sucks.
And I have a question on this pertaining to the battery. How's the idling going to work?
Yeah.
Like, do you have to turn off the whole system, or could he just like put it in sleep mode, come back to the game 2 hours later? And if so, how much battery would it drop? Like 10% if I do that for like 3 hours while touching it? That's one thing I feel as though they had to hit this on the dime.
And we can compare that to even like our cell phones. Android is known for just burning through your battery while your phone's locked, where Apple isn't. So this can really vary from product to product and software to software and the components inside. So if Nintendo really streamlines their operating system and their software on it, maybe we could see amazing battery life. But if they don't, we could see horrible battery life. And I mean, this kind of gets me into my next con, which is the chipset. Like the actual hardware in the NX or in the Switch, because they're using the Tegra line of NVIDIA processors. I know some people probably don't know what that is. It's basically a small mobile processor that will process these games. I'm pretty sure it does graphics also, and it's pretty weak, to be honest. It's a little bit better than like a PS3 or Xbox 360, which is good because those systems, if it was worse than that, then it'd be in a bad shape.
Yeah,
but it's still not as good as a PS4, and especially the PS4 Pro that comes out next month, or the Scorpio that's going to come out next year, or even the 1S, and so how's that going to compare?
It's kind of upsetting because this device is being released years later from the PS3 for it to rival a spec of it, even though the games might not be as demanding. The prices on those chips, it's not going to cost them anything to put this in, so...
It's just a little scary because getting back to what I said about third party support, and what we both said that third party support is necessary if your system is too different from the current systems or even too weak than the current systems. Game devs might not be as willing to downgrade their game or to work extra to make it work on Nintendo's platform. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One both work on the x86 platform, which again is getting a little technical with processors, but they're both basically the same. So it's very easy for them to make games for both. When you're going to a totally different architecture and instruction set, which is what I think Nintendo is, you're gonna have a hard time porting those games over. So that's gonna suck, and we might see lower resolutions because of that, or lower frame rates because of that, which again is gonna suck. Now they might do that for the battery life to get more battery life out of it, which is true, but at the same time, I'm still worried about those third parties.
Yes, you have to be worried, especially with the track record, like I said. So on that note, we're gonna talk about, at least I want to talk about, is the pricing.
Most definitely, that's probably the most crucial point to get right, especially when they launch.
Mm-hmm. And for me, the pricing, I want to know. Say, if you lose the right side of the joystick, do you have to buy a whole new set, or could you just buy one? And how much would that cost? Would it cost you your arm and a leg just to get one? Or
and that's something I didn't even think about, because those controllers are removable, and it's gonna happen. Someone's gonna lose half their controller, and like you said,
it's weird to say half their controller,
but that's gonna suck if Nintendo goes, well, guess what? You have to buy a whole new set. Now I can kind of understand why they would do that. It's probably easier for them to package them together and so on.
Yeah.
But still, and then imagine how pricey they're gonna be on like secondary sellers, like on eBay and stuff. Like just the one side. Like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Like look at how expensive Wii remotes are, and then compared to that, where if that does become a problem, to be like, oh, the left side be like $100. Like, oh my gosh.
The left side costs you $100. The right side costs you like $95. Like, it's gonna be ridiculous. But hopefully, it doesn't go down that path, and they're very reasonable with this, and take your approach, because I guarantee that controller does not cost them.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, it's unique and it's kind of their own thing, but still, it's mass produced.
Yeah,
it's probably gonna be made out of plastic. Like, it's not gonna be, and they're tiny. Another thing that really I hope they get right would be the pricing of the console in general.
What is your target area?
I think the sweet spot would be about $300.
Okay.
I think that would be reasonable, because it would be, we're not as good or we're not as powerful as the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. However, we have that portability factor. So, 300 would be good. If they're more than 300, they're really pushing it. Yeah, like I can't really see myself paying that much. And even me personally, I would have a hard time still paying 300. I think that's reasonable, but me personally, I don't know if I could run out and pay $300 for it.
I totally agree. I feel as though the sweet spot for me, if it's launched at like $275, $250, I'm getting it day one. No doubt.
Oh yeah, definitely. If it's that cheap on day one, yeah, they won't have any problem selling it. I do know that they have claimed that they're going to be selling it at a profit. So that means we might see slightly higher prices just so they can make a few bucks on each unit.
You might notice, what was the Wii U sold at?
I don't remember exactly, but I think it was $300.
Okay.
But it was basically that price because of the gamepad.
Yeah.
And once people found out the gamepad sucked, you couldn't really take it far from the system itself, people didn't want it anymore. A lot of the games you could play with just the controller or the Wii remote, and people wanted them to take it out to reduce the price, and you could buy it separately if you really wanted those games that used it. It was just, and of course, that system was underpowered and old technology. There's no reason that should have been that expensive.
Yeah.
But this one, I could see it being $300 and being fair. That'd be a fair price.
Yeah, I definitely could see $300, and I feel as though it's 50-50. I might get it day one at $300, but I feel as though regardless, I'm going to get this product, and I hope they do the best they can with this.
Yeah, for me, what would really sell it would be that third party support, like we talked about, good battery life, like we talked about, good prices for the launch, like we talked about. But also, I would want to see something that would really force me to get it would be if they discontinue the 3DS. And they're like, hey, you know that Pokemon game you really like? You have to get our new Nintendo Switch to play it. I probably would wait still, but that would be definitely a system seller for me. But the last part, which I know we talked about earlier, would be the prices of the storage, or if they're gonna have enough storage built in.
Yes.
So, what do you think about that?
For me, uh, I feel as though nowadays storage doesn't cost that much. I would like to see a good amount of storage on here because hopefully if they do it right, you can have apps such as Netflix, YouTube, or maybe
Yeah.
save a couple music on here. I don't know how far they're gonna go.
I mean, the music part might be pushing it to Nintendo. But
yeah, that's true.
I know that they have Netflix and YouTube on the 3DS, so I could see them definitely bringing that over.
But I do want to see the lowest I want to see is around 64. How about yourself?
Yeah, I think 64 gigabytes built-in storage would be good because more is always better, but that's I feel is the minimum for a mobile device. Like my phone is 64 gigabytes, and that's good enough where I can have music and some movies on it and not just destroy the storage. If it's 32 or God forbid 16,
Oh my God.
like no, you'll fill that up with just a handful of games, and they won't even be big games either. They'll be small games. Like look at most AAA games these days are like 40 gigabytes, 50 gigabytes, some even more than that. And so if you're gonna have if this is going to be a very like a digital console, then you're going to have to need a lot of storage. Now, something else that we talked about was like with phones, you can have expandable storage.
Yes, I feel as though it's kind of a must for me in this sense that I would be very happy if they give us that, access to expandable storage, and I feel as though that'll also save them. If God forbidding, but if they do go the 32 route, I do want to see expandable storage.
Oh, most definitely. Now I know the 3DS does have expandable storage, and they use SD cards, and so that's standard. That's a very easy thing to get, and they're cheap. And today they go all the way up to like a terabyte, I think, in an SD card. So if you really, really wanted to, you could buy yourself one of those and pop it in. Now, of course, that's not confirmed, but if I don't see why they wouldn't do it, and they really should do it. If they don't do it, they're really missing out.
Yeah.
They're I don't know what they're thinking. Also, the prices of the game cartridges. Like right now we see 3DS. Their games are about $35 to $40 on average, right? And that's not bad. But when we see a AAA game on a cartridge, how expensive will that cartridge be?
Yeah.
$60, and be on par with everyone else is going to be $70. I don't know, and that also could be a killer. Look at the Vita, for instance. Their memory sticks were proprietary from Sony, and they were so expensive that basically killed the Vita. If these cartridges for these games are too expensive, it could potentially kill the Switch.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and so like if they, and then what's the difference going to be between the digital game and the hard copy? Because if you have to pay for that SD card that it's on or the cartridge that it's on, that could raise the price. Is the digital version going to be cheaper because you don't have to pay for that cartridge, or are they going to keep it the same?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't PC do something like that?
PC gaming?
Yes.
Well, PC gaming, since it's such an open platform, there's a lot of competition in where you buy your games. So a lot of these different websites that sell games, they try to have the best prices, and they have really good sales and really good deals. So you can, like Doom. I remember a month after Doom came out, it was $35 on PC. That's a $60 title that a month after it released was $35.
Yeah.
So right there you can see that they don't care about physical copies or whatever. They're just trying to give you the game for the best price to get your business. Of course, that's way ahead of console gaming because they still deal with places like GameStop. So they have to keep those people happy while maintaining their own online stores. And it's only one store. If you were going to buy a PlayStation game, you have to buy it through the PlayStation Store. If you're going to buy a Nintendo game, you have to buy it through the Nintendo eShop. Where PC gaming, you can buy it through Steam or, Good Old Gaming and Humble Bundle and all these other websites where you can buy games from.
Quick question: what are you looking for the screen resolution to be at?
For me, the screen resolution on my TV, I would hope that it's 1080p. But for the portable version, I would say it could be as low as 720p. That would be kind of, it's kind of crazy to think about that in 2016, and it's going to come out in 2017. But on a smaller screen like that, you could probably get away with it. Will people complain? Yes. Will it not look as good? Yes. Will it help you with your battery life? Yes. So maybe that trade-off is worth it. But I've heard rumors that say it's 900p. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel as though 72 is getting outdated. I feel as though they could place it at that, but for me, I want to see it higher, but only time will tell.
Yeah, definitely. Like, higher would be great, and it would look better, and the games would look better. But another thing I'm worried about is frame rates, too. This processor is okay, but it's not the best processor out there. So if you have a game running at 1080p, but we're going to have 25 frames a second, that kind of sucks.
Yep.
But if they're able to do 720p, 60 frames, or even like 50 or 45 frames, that's still a lot better.
I'd rather take that any day.
Yeah, the only thing that's hard with that is it's hard to sell someone on frame rate because it's not something you notice right away.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easy to sell someone on graphics and resolution because if you see a screen and it looks amazing, you're gonna want to buy it, even though it plays like crap.
Yeah, that's just part of the marketing nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's about everything I want to talk about. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. And for the viewers out there, if you guys want us to go on another topic, something that we didn't cover, just put it down in the comment. If you agreed with anything we said or disagree, just put it down there and let us know, and we try to address it.
Yep, this is our first video, so leave any type of feedback you want. And if you want to talk about the Switch some more, please leave a comment, and we will definitely be responding.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thanks, guys. See you next time.